reliable,
large pool
to be looking at the data. And what they showed was that adults 60 and older who walked 6,000 to 9,000 steps per day had a 40 to 50% lower risk of heart attack or stroke. So, by walking that, you're going to be lowering your risk. 6,000 steps, if you did it all together with an average stride, would be about 2.5 miles. But you have to remember every step you take during the day. People that wear a step counter kind of know, they can go up and down the stairs, they can go down, throw the laundry in the dryer. All those steps are counting.
And they add up throughout the day.
They really do. But if people can get that number, that would lower your risk by 40 to 50%.
I mean, that's really a significant reduction.
It's huge. It's actually huge. They showed that they compared 4,500 steps compared to if somebody did less than 2,000. And just by kicking it up, not even hitting that 6,000, that decreased the risk by 77%. I mean, it's massive. So it really shows exercise is really probably the biggest key piece that people could very easily doing. And every step does count. It really doesn't matter if it's slow. It doesn't matter if you take a break. One thing they did show that for some reason they really can't figure out why, but that if you can do a 10 to 15 minute stretch at a time, like really going out for a walk, that seems to be especially more beneficial than getting it all in brief segments. So certainly you're going to be doing brief through the day just as you're day-to-day and busy, but if you can take even 10 minutes at lunch, that's going to make a big difference in your health. One thing I'd bring up that was kind of interesting, people have heard about 10,000 steps a day.
Yes.
Is supposed to be the goal. That was actually a marketing ploy. It came up in Japan, and I'll probably kill this pronunciation, but Manpoki, MANPO-KEI, that was the name they put on the step counter that means 10,000 steps. So they just totally pulled that out of the air.
So they're not valid.
No, not really. They've really found that 10,000 doesn't need to be our key. Again, that 6,000 to 9,000 steps can be the key. And then I'm going to put in a plug for my walk with the doc.
Yes.
We are still doing that.
It's tonight, right?
Tonight, and it is going to be nice outside.
Beautiful day.
We are going to walk outside. So we haven't been able to do that for a while. We do this every week, and it's on Wednesday at 4. We were doing it later, but because of the time change, we had to move that up because we were still walking outside and it was getting dark. But we do it inside and out. So if the weather is nice, like today, it looks like we'll get lucky and practically need to put our shorts on to go do the walk. But we start at the library in the room there, and there's a brief talk on just any kind of health topic that I kind of come up with that week. So they'll probably hear about heart health later today again. But just brief, like 5-10 minutes, nothing major, but just things I've read, just different topics. Then we've been doing a chair yoga stretch.
Oh, okay.
And last time we tried Tai Chi, because Tai Chi is supposed to be especially good for your health and balance. So you can find those on YouTube. It was actually amazing to me what all you can find on YouTube out there. There are just videos that you can watch and follow along. So we do a chair yoga, and then we've decided we're going to alternate with Tai Chi for beginners every other week. But we start with that in the room, and then we walk. And we do that indoors. There's videos, again, on YouTube and you can type in Walk with the Doc, and it will pop up multiple videos. And you can actually walk inside, and it's quite the workout. I'm going to tell you, I probably work harder doing that than when we go out and walk on Rebecca Park Trail. So,
that is so good.
So.
We learned yesterday down at the senior center here in town, they have a chair yoga once a week.
Yeah.
And they actually have a wait list because so many people are wanting to do it. And they were telling us how one lady had a hip replacement, and because of doing chair yoga for so long, she was doing it at home as well, her recovery was just incredibly fast. So.
It's amazing, the stretch. You wouldn't think that the chair yoga would be that effective, but I'm gonna tell you, it feels really good, and you're sitting down, so really anybody can do it. There's one of the videos we watch. It's a daughter and then her mom, who is, I think she's 82, and then their cat wanders around during the video too. But this 82-year-old mom, I mean, she's kicking some butt up there. She can really do some stretching, and it would really be excellent for anybody. So our chair yoga, I'm sure, is not as extensive as what you'd get at some of the programs,
Sure.
but we do it for a short period of time. So anybody's welcome to come. If you want to come for the chair yoga, the talk, we today, I think, we'll be walking. We then go out on Rebecca Park Trail if the weather is nice and it's completely paved. There are a few chairs or benches, you can sit on. Not everybody goes the whole route.
And you go at your own pace, right?
Yes. And we kind of tend to break into clumps of people. So right now we have kind of a dedicated group of 8 to 10 that come pretty much every week, but we'd love to get more. We have room in the room that we can, when we walk indoors, we can push more tables back, and the library's been very nice. They started the program with us with the Board of Health, and then they've let us continue to use that room. So
It's a great program.
Yeah.
And today's going to be beautiful, 70 degrees. So
yes, it's like I
today's
said,
a
we
great
may
day
be
to
wearing
try it out.
shorts after this negative degree weather. It's going to feel like a heat wave. So.
Sure does.
So I did have some things. So what can each of us do individually, looking back at the heart health? Number one would be know your risk factors. And those risk factors are going to be a BMI over 25. So that's a weight type of measurement. A BMI isn't a perfect measurement, though, so you got to take that with a little grain of salt. But because muscle mass, other things can impact. But certainly being overweight is a risk factor. Having a cholesterol level over 200. And that, again, that kind of somewhat depends on there's good cholesterol and bad cholesterol, but if you look at a total number of 200, that should be a flag to people to be looking at, do you need to be doing more? Blood sugar being elevated. There's a test called a hemoglobin A1C that a lot of people, if they have diabetes, they know what that is. That's a test that you can either do a finger prick or a blood draw on the arm, and it measures what your average sugar is over the last 2 to 3 months. So if those are elevated, that's a sign of diabetes, or certainly just a blood sugar. And statistics I read said that 27% of adults, so more than a fourth of the people that have diabetes, don't even know it. Because it's totally no symptoms. You're not going to know it until it's been
there.
high for a long time. And then blood pressure. The goal blood pressure is 120 over 80 that you see, and it's usually stuck on every blood pressure cuff machine. It's got a little sticker on there saying that. 40% of U.S. adults have hypertension and don't know it. So,
Wow.
Again, both of those are things that, unless you get screened, you're not going to know. So,
Those annual fasting labs are a prime example
Yes.
to be able to catch so
yes,
many of those
yeah,
things.
those are important. And the Board of Health has a way, it's called you can call to schedule a free wellness screening, and it will include an A1C, a total cholesterol. They'll check your blood pressure, check your weight completely for free. And you can call the Board of Health. That number is 812-663-8301, and they will get you set up to come in sometime and get that done completely free. And then Decatur County Memorial Hospital has screenings off and on through the year. And so I'm going to really want to mention those. The Women's Health Expo is coming up. That's March 7th. They'll be having the Healthy Fair. That's June 4th. And then Men's Tailgate is, I had down October 3rd. It seemed like it was always in November, so that date might not be right. But so those are screenings that there's a lot of fun activities with it, and other health screenings, like they do a mental health screening, I think sleep apnea screening, skin cancer screening. But as part of that, you can get blood work done that's run in the lab. It's standard blood work, totally for free, and that's the hospital and the Decatur County Memorial Hospital Foundation are the ones that sponsor that. So I'd really encourage, and that again, you got to look back. If you haven't had your blood pressure checked, if you haven't had your blood sugar checked, you may be in that 27% of people that can be diabetic and not know it, or the 40% that have hypertension. So get screened, or at your doctor, your provider's office for your yearly annual physical. Medicare covers a free wellness exam every single year that you would get at least the blood pressure and decide if you're at risk to need those tests done.
And it gives you a little preventative, but a little insight, because you might be pre-diabetic, so we can make changes at that point to keep you from going full blown.
Right. So. Another thing to think about would be, it's called the coronary calcium score or heart screen, and the hospital offers this. I think the current price is $49. And that is where you just lay on the CT scan table. There's no IV. It's very quick. I mean, when I've had it done, my husband and I do them, and you're in and out of that building in less than 45 minutes, from check-in to out. But that can actually see if you have plaque developing in the heart. And the criteria for that, for a male, you need to be over 45. Females, they don't take us till 55 for the screening. And having another risk factor, which is going to be elevated cholesterol, hypertension, family history of heart disease, having some extra weight, being a smoker, or inactive in a high-stress lifestyle. And that just described about everybody.
Every American.
Every American. So, and that number you can call at the hospital, 812-663-1157. So 1157, and you do not have to have a doctor's order for that. It is something you just pay for. Your insurance won't cover it, unfortunately. So. Number 3 that kind of has to do with heart health, learn CPR. It's really changed. Back in the past, it used to be chest compressions, and you had to learn how to do their breaths. They've really, for the basic person that might be doing CPR, it's hands only. You do not need to be worrying about giving them breaths. I mean, if you know how to do that and want to, that would be something. But really, they're saying it's the hands only. And this doubles or triples a cardiac arrest victim's chance of survival, which is huge. You're at least giving them a chance. And, you have to think about, it might be a family member. It might be a total stranger, that you come upon. You might be that first responder. So wouldn't you feel a lot better if you knew you tried everything you could? So CPR classes are available periodically through the Board of Health and Decatur County Memorial Hospital. They've got multiple other places, but they're really, it's a easy thing to get trained on and something you can do in an emergency.
Very useful skill.
Yes. So
you never know when you're going to need it.
No,
that's the thing.
You really don't.
You think I don't need it until you do.
Yeah. So. And then one other thing I'd like to mention would be related to heart is blood donation. That's needed. Heart surgery. I know somebody that recently had heart surgery, and of course they're going to need to have blood transfusions pretty frequently during that. There are blood drives by Red Cross. Versity is, I think, more out of coming from the Cincy area. There's a Board of Health drive on March 24th, so you could call the Board of Health and get scheduled there at 663-8301. I know First Financial here in town is having one February 26th. I don't think you can call the bank. Probably you'd have to get on the site, and that's Versity, VERSITI. Decatur County, I know, is having one May 4th. And if you get on the different sites of the blood drives for either Versity or the Red Cross, you type in your area code, and it will pop up every opportunity you have. So
And we're kind of at a critical stage that blood donations are needed.
Yes, they're definitely a very big need for it right now. It seems like they go through in the wintertime an increased need, and I don't know if that's because fewer people donate. And honestly, I don't know. Like last time I was going to go donate, I couldn't because I was sick, and then I rescheduled and I was still sick. So I'm set up for that March 24th. So I would encourage people to think about that.
Is it every 90 days you can donate?
Yes. Okay. No, 56 days.
56
days. So yeah.
Every couple of months.
Yeah, and believe me, once you've donated, they will be reaching out to you with nothing obnoxious, but they'll call, give you a text to, give you an opportunity to do it again. And it's an easy process. I know a lot of people, don't like needles, and I understand that, but
it's only one.
It's one, and because they don't have to do the finger sticks anymore.
Oh, okay.
Which that was the one I actually hated because I just don't like those. But now they have a way they can measure it transcutaneously. So I've not had that yet, so we'll see. But
interesting.
Yeah, so they can check what they're doing with that. They're checking to make sure your blood is good enough level to be able to donate without harming you at all. So. But you just want to really push fluids before you go. I've found my donation goes much faster if I just drink plenty of fluids ahead of time, have something to eat that day, and then right afterwards they're going to sit you down and give you more.
Give you a snack.
Yes. Yeah. So probably my biggest key is I just want to stress just making small, consistent, informed choices. The diet, doing some more exercise. That's what's going to get you to be heart healthy. Prevention and early detection are really the key with all that.
I think family history, just looking at the genetic piece of it, that's always to be aware of what your grandparents had and what your parents' conditions are. I cross a lot of paths and people are like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's just important to know those things.
Well, that's what, like you, in the office, I'd ask people about family history, and people just didn't know. And that's like having a little bit of a roadmap, for your life. If you know that, grandma died when she was 67, which to me is young now, so that's a big flag. Okay, what happened to her? Why did she? And to kind of look and, maybe she had risk factors that she wasn't handling that you can. So.
Very important. Again, it's Heart Month for the month of February. Yes. It goes right along with Valentine's Day.
That's right.
Wear red to support it, and again, the health department offering those free screenings as well. So make sure and pop out there.
Please do.
Yeah. Any programs coming up at the health department?
I know they are starting to make plans for the. Let me see. He sent me. So the. Baby shower is going to be sometime in May. That was the community baby shower. And I think that's kind of the main thing that they're working on. And then the blood drive. Vaccinations are always still available. And I did want to get a little info out there if they're not watching the news. Measles is still, unfortunately, rearing its ugly little head. South Carolina, that outbreak is now up to, I think as of just in the past few days, they said 962 cases.
Wow.
Since I think started in October is when their outbreak started. So that's actually the largest outbreak that we've had in over 30 years. And it's really driven by, there's a large population apparently in this one particular county where they are not vaccinated. And almost all those cases are affecting children, and 246 were less than 5 years old. And measles is not a fun or benign disease. And apparently of the people that got the disease, 94% were not vaccinated. So vaccination gives a big protection. Some people were only partially vaccinated. And unfortunately, there are still, vaccination is not 100% guarantee you won't get it if you get a big exposure. And measles is just so contagious. Florida is at a university down there. They're now up to 68 cases since the start of the year. North Dakota has had 6. So it's starting to pop up. Now, luckily, we do have a pretty good measles vaccination rate in our area. I can't remember exactly our number, but it'd be something people ought to think about and keep an eye on it. And the closer it gets, it's scary. There have been measles exposures in Washington, D.C., Disneyland on, I think, January 22nd. People were exposed to someone that went to Disneyland not realizing they were sick, and 2 cases have resulted from that. It's amazing, not more, as many people wander around Disney World. So, measles vaccines are available at the Board of Health. They're available at your provider. And then I want to put a plug in for the RSV vaccine because I was sicker than a dog here in January. I had a sweet little grandson that he really didn't get very sick because his mom had the vaccine when she was pregnant, and he had a little bit of a runny nose, but didn't think much of it. And then later that week, I got terribly sick, and it turned out he got diagnosed with RSV, so that's what I had.
And yours hung on.
Oh, it was a 3-week ordeal, and it was. I can see why somebody who can't cough hard enough, they're going to go into pneumonia and be extremely ill. So it was the worst cough I've had in a long time. So there is a vaccine for that. It's recommended for anybody 75 and older can get it. Age 50 and above with certain chronic conditions. And so I had not gotten the vaccine because I thought, okay, I'm going to do the right thing. Initially when it came out, they were saying 65 and above, but then they switched it to an older population, an older age. So I thought, well, okay, I'll wait. And it's like, well, I found out I am in that high risk. So I was wheezing. So anybody with any kind of respiratory history, immunocompromised in any way, diabetic, just ought to think about that. So
just get it.
Yep.
It'll help protect you in the long run.
Yes.
Yeah. And you got to experience it firsthand. So
unfortunately, yes. So that's why I'm going to mention that RSV vaccine.
That's right. Once again, the phone number to the health department.
812-663-8301. 8301.
All right. And you can call for any of those services that we've talked about today.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Dr. McCullough, thanks so much. We enjoy having you in each month and learning something new. And to Walk with a Doc tonight,
Yes,
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock. Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
All right.